Hello, Sandra Otten here. I'm a professional motivation expert, a diet and wellness coach, www.reasonableddiet.com. I'm also a life coach, but today I am a cooking coach. And I'm going to show you how to roast vegetables. Right now I'm peeling a beet. I have all these other vegetables already prepared, which I'll tell you about. But I'm a little anxious about this particular video because it's so important. Roasting vegetables, it is so good. I can't believe it took me so long to discover it. My mom didn't roast vegetables except for like with a pot roast or something like that growing up. But just plain old roasted vegetables are really, really delicious. Roasting them at a high temperature caramelizes them, so it really brings out a sweetness in vegetables. So even people who don't like vegetables often love roasted vegetables, and you will too. So there's so many endless varieties of ways that you can roast vegetables that I want to kind of tell you about them, but I don't want to overwhelm you. How to do that? That's my dilemma. That's why I'm a little anxious. Can I get that all in? So let me just tell you the main basics of it. The basics are that you roast in a roasting pan, if possible, a heavy-duty roasting pan, and you roast at 450 degrees, so you want a really hot oven, and that you, let me just get rid of this a minute, and you probably roast for about 30 minutes, but you need to have some oil in it, have some kind of spices in it, or herbs. You don't stack your vegetables, you don't use a lid. So here I am chopping my beets. Can you see me chopping them? I think you can. So that was pretty easy. Beets are something that intimidates people sometimes, so that's why I thought I'd show you peeling a beet. I got rid of the beet greens. I'm actually going to put them in a soup stock. Although if they were a little bit fresher, I would actually eat them or even roast them. But right now, I'm just cutting up my vegetables, and I'm going to show you all the vegetables that I have. Now, you can I'm using the vegetables that happened to be in my refrigerator. So today I'm roasting cauliflower, carrots, Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, red onions, and beets. And that's a lot of vegetables that I've got going on there. So one of the dangers when you're roasting too many vegetables at one time is that they'll stack up and then they'll sort of steam instead of caramelize. But this is my plate of vegetables that I have ready to roast. So I have the cauliflower cut up. I got some carrots, Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, beets, and the onions. And with the onions, I'm just going to put about this many onions in, and I got nice, thick, big onion rings. That's how I'm going to be doing those, although you can cut them up smaller if you want. Now you'll want to kind of chunk your vegetables all about the same size and, so that they get done about the same time. So this is the deal. I'm going to show you how to do Brussels sprouts too. All I do with Brussels sprouts is cut off the end of it just like that. And then if you want, you can cut them in half, and it does give them a little more, especially if you have big Brussels sprouts, then they're have more edge to caramelize, so they sort of like the outer edges sort of caramelize more, so they have more edge, I guess you would say. So you want to put some oil on it, but not drench it in oil. Now, what kind of oil? If you're going toward a Asian, then you'll want to use a sesame oil or roasted sesame oil, perhaps. If not, just stick with you're always safe using extra virgin olive oil, right? Olive oil. My BT hands, I better wash them real quick before that stains. Today, I'll talk to you while I'm over here at my sink washing these. Today, I'm also going to put tofu in the mixture. And you might think that that's a little odd, but actually, if you don't like tofu, you think you don't like tofu, this is a wonderful way to introduce tofu into your diet because, I'm going to beat on the floor, that's not good, because I crumble it up in the, here's my tofu, I'll just show you. I crumble it up after I get it completely drained. So let me get a fresh towel. And what you'll do is get all the moisture out of your tofu that you can. Now I buy my tofu in bulk like this, but you can just buy a package of tofu, not the silken tofu, just regular extra firm or firm. And then you'll crumble it up in with your vegetables. We're going to set that aside for right now. Let me talk to you, try to get organized here, talk to you about pans. This is my roasting vegetable pan, and you can see it's a nice big hefty pan. And my second choice would be the smaller one that I have. It's not quite as thick, but I invested like $70 in this pan, and I have no regrets over that money. But if you need to use a thinner pan, just know that you'll probably have to toss them more often and watch them a little closer so they don't burn. And then you can just use a cake pan or a cookie sheet. You can use parchment paper on a cookie sheet if you want to do it that way. But if you have a nice big roasting pan, or if you want to invest in something, this is a great thing to have. So all of the vegetables are going to go in the roasting pan. Now, I might have too many for this roasting pan, actually. And if I do, I will put part of them into another pan, but not till after I have it all tossed. So I'm going to toss it all in here. So all my vegetables are in here. Now I'm going to take my tofu and just crumble it up in here, just like this, and it crumbles into little crumbles. These are just going to turn into little brown crunchies in your vegetables. Now, if you're not going to use tofu, which is fine, you might want to have some other kind of protein in it. So you could use black beans, chicken breast, shrimp, any kind of leftover meat that you have. So if you went out to eat one night and had steak, and you know how they give you too much to eat these days at restaurants, great to have a little bit of extra protein to just throw into your roasted vegetables like that. That's a good idea. But the shrimp wouldn't have to be pre-cooked, nor would the chicken breast. I don't know about just putting raw red meat in there. I don't think that would be such a great idea. Okay, so that is all crumbled up. Let me just wash my hands. Alrighty, what's next? Next is to talk to you about what else goes in it. So, as I said, olive oil. Now, I use a mister to put olive oil on my vegetables. But if you don't have a mister, don't just drizzle it on. Start out with, like with a pan full of vegetables like this, I'd start out with maybe 3 tablespoons and see how that works for you. It is to taste. You don't have to have it. It adds a lot of good taste to it, though, to have. All right, I'm going to pump that up a little bit. Now, this is my olive oil mister. I don't use pan myself. I use this lovely mister that I bought. You can find it recommended at my blog, or you can find one yourself. I can't remember the brand name offhand, but this is a good brand name. All right, so now I'm going to start to toss this a little bit. Breaking up my onions here. Okay. Some of your other options with regard to how you're going to flavor this and make it more flavorful. So if you're going toward an Asian kind of flavor, you'll want to use some soy sauce in it, and perhaps some ginger and garlic, right? That would be good in an Asian. If you're going toward Italian and you have any fresh herbs, it would be great to use parsley, oregano, basil. All of those are good. You can buy ginger paste like this to give it a little bite with ginger. I buy garlic in a jar just like this. I often put in some vinegar, so red wine vinegar or white wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar. If you have any of those are good also. So right now I have olive oil. I don't even have salt and pepper on it, which I definitely always put pepper. I'm a big pepper lover, so I'm going to do that. And let's see, I have oregano fresh out of my garden, so I'm going to go with oregano and parsley. I don't have fresh parsley, but I have dried parsley. But I'm going to go oregano, parsley, and garlic with these. And I'm going to get them in the oven, and I'll see you back right after that. All right, hi, I'm back, and the vegetables are done, and I might say delicious. So I've been sampling them. You need to learn how to roast vegetables if you haven't done it, really you do. I want to say, start very simply. Even start just with like potatoes and carrots and Brussels sprouts, perhaps. But start simply in terms of don't worry about all the extraneous things that you could be thinking about. Just go with olive oil, garlic, salt, and pepper, and a few simple vegetables. Don't have to worry about being extravagant. But if you have vegetables in your refrigerator, you think, what am I going to do with those? I need to use them. Roast them. You know, you usually always have potatoes and onions around, so if you have some cabbage and some carrots and something, you know, whatever, some kale, anything, go ahead and use it in your roasted vegetables. All right, so we've covered a little bit of it. You know, I have more at my website. If you're a member, you'll get the Roasting Vegetables 101, which is a really handy guide. But I do want to say that after you've roasted vegetables a while, then you'll get used to how many in your roasting pan, at what temperature. So just pay attention to it, be intuitive with it. And one of the things that I love about roasting vegetables is that I can cut them all up, put them in my pan, put it in the oven, put my oven to cook for 30 minutes, and then I'll leave for an entire hour, go off for a bike ride, and come back and have dinner all prepared for me. So I've got the protein in there, I've got the tofu already mixed in, I've had the vegetables, maybe I've made brown rice that I have in my refrigerator, and I'm all set for dinner just like that, with just having the time is to chop up the vegetables. And I'm a pretty fast chopper. So I can get those vegetables chopped up in, you know, 10-15 minutes, and my preparation time's completely done. It's really easy cleanup, it's delicious, packed full of nutrients, and whole food. How can you get much better than that? So have I reminded you, 450-degree oven, don't stack your vegetables, no lid required, and you are set to go. Hoping for peace in the world, wishing you peace of mind. Namaste.